All right, Black people, continuing on. So again, so the ironic process again. The harder you try to inhibit a thought or feeling of behavior, the less likely you are to succeed. So I've been on some road trips and stuff, Ron, where I've had to I've had to pee, and I'm like, don't think about having to pee. Don't think about having to pee. Don't think about having to pee. You're almost at the rest stop. Just don't think about it. Don't think about it. And that generally does makes it worse. So again, we have to be mindful about these things for ourselves. I hope that you can get as much as possible to do well in this class. But I think there's a lot of valuable things here that can help you outside of it as well. Yeah, just understanding yourself, which I think that I know that most human beings struggle with. And it's understandable. There's a lot going on up here. And oftentimes it just is, our society in particular is so demanding. There's so many time demands that it's just hard to find time to, really think about it. I encourage you all to make time for this as much as possible. And there are some very clear research mechanisms that allow you to be successful with these strategies. So again, being self-aware, Ron, we talked about the self-discrepancies, and discrepancies means what again?
Like differences or inaccuracy.
Good. So self-awareness can be important, but we also, again, that if we focus too much and too long on these self-discrepancies, Jakir, which we're all going to have, none of us are perfect. But in the process of that, again, I've said before, you may not always be able to control, all the elements of how you're perceived publicly or how things may turn out. But in looking at self-discrepancies, generally the best place to look is yourself. That if I have an ideal self, and your ideal self, Maisha, your ideal self, not the self that I want for you or that your mama want from you, your ideal self. That's why, again, it's really important to give thought to that. Not a lot of people think about, look, in a perfect world, who do I want to be? What kind of person do I want? What kind of life do I want to live? And you want to take an honest look at the gaps between that and what you do to control. I was talking to a friend, last week who's they have a desire at one point to, maybe move out of the country, that America is becoming just a really difficult place to live. And that's fine. What are you going to do about that? Michael, again, if the kids in the class laughed at you, what are you going to do about it? If my ideal self, I would like to, stop drinking so many Red Bulls, but I know that, I have a lot of demands on me presently that require a lot of time and not as much sleep as I probably should get. What kind of things am I going to do to try and bridge those discrepancies? But again, as we talked about, we have to understand where our limits are at as it relates to self-regulation. There's some times where you got to let yourself go where, what? I know that me eating this or doing this, or sometimes Shakira fucking this may not be the best thing, but I'm finna do it. I'll worry about all the rest later on. But right now, yeah, I'm finna do this right now and we'll figure it out later. That happens sometimes. We've all been there. You've been sticking, again, there are certain things where you got to be more careful, like something like that. You can slip up if you're an alcoholic. You can't have even a single day of slip ups. So that one slip up can just boom, and you're right back. But it's not an easy process. Again, as you getting older and maturing, particularly in I want you to be mindful about this. As challenging as the college years can be for that, your more challenging years are going to be when you get out of school, in your late 20s and early 30s, and you really begin to kind of take assessment of, okay, what did the goals that I set out for when I first started at Allen, How close am I to that now? And how do I explain these differences? And in many cases, like I said, your goals will change. But as I talked about, Ron, the human psyche is a very fragile thing. Like Nick Anderson, he was like, you can't get to the NBA, Jakira, if you don't, obviously you got to have a lot of skill, but you also have to have almost a rational sense of self-confidence. You don't get to the NBA, like, I wonder if I'm good enough. You can say, like, I'm the fucking man, and like, let LeBron come out here and try and guard me tonight. Watch what happens. That might not be the case, but like almost everybody in the league comes in thinking like you gotta feel like that. But you get on that court run and you find out you quite work up to LeBron's level. How do you deal with such a thing, Jakir, without depressing yourself? These are some of the mechanisms here. Anybody want to earn some extra credit points and try and break any of them down for me?
I got you right now.
Hey,
You got it. There you go. Okay, boom. So how many?
Don't steal out of points. Just give me one so far.
All right, one. Okay, so I'm gonna do downward social comparisons, right?
Okay, good.
Because we do this. I do this shit personally every other day. Basically that's the idea of, I'm gonna compare myself to those who aren't as well off as me. So again, damn, I got a 70 on this test, but I damn sure ain't get that 50 though. Right. Or I'm gonna apply it in like let's remember we was having a conversation about poor white individuals.
Right.
The richer, the more wealthy white individual says, damn, you're poor, but at least you're not black. Right. So that's kind of, I feel as if that's the same kind of idea. Concept.
Excellent. One extra credit for a young man. Somebody give me another one. Very good.
Right now,
go ahead, Maisha Hainsworth.
Okay, I want to do the self-handicapping because that's something that I do. Okay, so I would say an example of this would be, per se, running. If somebody tell me I have to run, I'm immediately say, oh, I can't do that because I got asthma. Or I can't do that because I'm fat. I can't do that. Like, I'm going to immediately count myself out before I even try because I can't do it.
Good. Why should I try out for the basketball team, Aisha? You see how short I am?
Baby, good. I know I ain't trying out.
Right. I did try out for the basketball team, though. But yes, we do that all the time. Like, I've definitely been, why should I apply for this job? I know I'm not good enough. Why should I go over here and talk to this girl? She's going to shoot me down. Any others? Good. One extra credit point, Maisha Hainsworth. Very good. Write down some of your classmates' comments, young people. Any others? Go ahead, Ron. Again, you lose nothing if you get it wrong.
All right, boom. So, Berg, basking in reflected glory. That's basically associating yourself with others that are successful, right? Which, in the sense, I understand personally how it works, but at the same time, let me say why I understand it. I understand it because, you are influenced by those who are around you. So if I surround myself with millionaires who are on that just economic level and mental level, we gonna be successful? I feel as if something's gonna rub off on me. But at the same time, I feel as if not a backfire, but like something to be cautious of is just because you hang out with these people, unless you really internalize what they're doing and adopt it, not necessarily, word for word or like copying it, but as long as you value that within yourself, you'll be good. But if not, you just kind of being dragged along in a sense. You letting them drag you along.
Okay, good. And we'll come to that in more detail. I was a little shaky there for a second, but you came through with it. 2 points so far for you, Ron. Jakira McLeod.
Self-serving beliefs.
Good. Explain, young lady.
Well, from my understanding, and I can give a brief example. So I know it's times where people who are in school, like we was talking about the 4.0 GPA, but we're in Allen University, and not downgrading our school. I love my school, but some not push you enough, and some answers are actually online if you really go search for it. So people then feel like, oh well, yeah, I'm smart, I have a 4.0, but you're at Allen, compared to those who have a 2.0 who attend the University of USC, who have a little strength, more hardship courses and stuff like that. So I hope that
it's on the right track, not quite there yet. Anybody want to give it a shot? You want to look at it a little bit more and try it again?
Mm,
Can I help her and give her the extra credit?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so my understanding of self-serving beliefs, basically from what I got from the textbook, when it comes to us getting good scores, we accept that responsibility. I did that. But then when we get bad scores, it's more so, damn, the questions was hard, or the professor ain't teach me, or excuses.
Good. There we go. So self-serving, then look, it ain't because, I'm gonna give you half a point. I'm gonna give Jakir the other half. So it's not because I didn't study hard enough. Man, these questions were stupid anyway. All the stuff that I studied for, he didn't put on the exam. Man, these questions are tricky. Like, so again, using the basketball example, like, look, the coaches got all their favorites and they just picked them. Some of these things may be true, but again, you want to be mindful about the role that you play. And how about implicit egotism? Anybody want to give a shot at that?
I'll try.
And look at the word, like, what do you think the word implicit means?
I want to
As
try
opposed to explicit, as opposed to explicit. Let's look at each of these more closely again and study them closely. Don't worry about if you don't know them all. Jakir, is that a new hand or?
no, I think it's the old one.
Okay, for sure.
I'll try it if you want me to.
Go ahead, yeah, sure, why not? You lose nothing for trying.
So you asked the difference between implicit and explicit. Explicit is kind of like everything is known or just out there. Implicit is kind of not so secretive, but everything is not known. So again, from what I read in the notes, basically this is like the subconscious kind of, the non-conscious self-enhancement. Now, as far as an example, I this one was my shaky one that I really didn't grasp. But again, that's the non-conscious self-enhancement. So if I had to think about an example, something that I non-consciously do to myself.
I think I got an example after you.
I mean, you could. I have no example, so you can go ahead.
I think an example of this would be like, say you're in class and you think you know the answer, but you're not confident in your answer. Yeah. So you're like, I'm not gonna say nothing because I don't want to be, publicly wrong or, something like that.
That is a great example. That's a great example. Okay. One extra credit point. Really good. Really good. And this is why it's so important for you all to participate in discussion. I think Maisha's example is better than one I was going to try and give. So please, please, please utilize your classmates' wisdom as well, as we learn from everyone in these environments, not just a book, not just from the professor. And great examples, because all of us have probably done all of these at different points. So again, and keep in mind, what is the goal of all these? Again, of all these mechanisms, what is the goal? We see self-enhancement there, but what's the major goal? To do what?
And
to maintain your self-esteem. So that right. So when you're sizing yourself up, again, we're talking about the discrepancies between your ideal self and actual self, and people will feel bad about those discrepancies. So we do, again, the human brain does tricks on itself all the time just to get us to cope with the world. As we talked about, if we put you in isolation, your brain is going to cope by probably inventing a friend for you. Isn't that right, Tupac? Exactly. Talking to my imaginary friend right now.
Oh, can we just review the basking in reflective glory one? Wait, is that the example Ron used when he was like, if you with a bunch of millionaires and you feel like you're gonna be a millionaire too?
Right.
Okay.
So because I am with this group that has had actual glory, that glory also transfers to me and I can feel good about myself. The better than average effect is, okay, look, yes, I might be a little bit overweight, but hey, at least I'm better than the average person on the street, so I don't need to lose no weight, and I can feel great about myself.
My SAT scores, they wasn't the highest, but they was better than average.
Right, absolutely, exactly. No, I wasn't the greatest student, but hey, I was better than the average.
Can I ask a question about that?
And yeah, I'm sorry, Rod, go ahead.
Um, speaking specifically with the ACT. So just a quick brief explanation. The first time I took the ACT, I got a 20, right? And I kind of felt like, damn, that was pretty high for like my first time taking it. Then the second time I took it, right? The second time, I mean, I completely like just guessed because I really didn't want to take it. It's like, damn, I gotta take it again. I took it already. Got a 19. And I really tried the first time, but the second time I didn't try at all. And the fact that my score was so close together, it was like, what the fuck? Like, is this really measuring what I'm capable of? Like,
Great question.
yeah.
Great question.
So
yeah, by and large, no. Like it can, again, these standardized tests, like with testing these class, like look, if I try to stress to y'all, like if you do well on a test, that don't necessarily mean that you mastered. If you don't do as well as you want, it doesn't mean that you're not intelligent or informed about the subject matter. It meant that on this particular like assessment, you didn't do as well as you could have. And we can look at the reasons why. But to your point, like tests by themselves are not the best measure of like the type of student that you are or what your knowledge is. That's why, like, most schools, we're going to look at everything. Again, implicit, Ron talked about again, it is subconscious. And pardon me, I'm looking at the example to see how I can weave this into our lecture. Okay, so this piece of it says, like, that there is a tendency for, like, so think of it this way, right? Where one of the things that when we talk about social research, Ron, a lot of times people subconsciously will look for things and information already enhance what they already believe, as opposed to like actually just trying to go out and find out what is the truth. So implicit egotism is that we have a certain image of ourselves and we subconsciously kind of do things that reinforce that. So like the example that you were giving, Jakira, kind of like I think maybe fits more into this one actually than the self-handicapping, or that you do. Yeah, you did self-handicapping, I think. And that a lot of times, again, that people will almost that if I got cut by the basketball from the basketball team, that I might find a way to feel better about myself by going to play with a bunch of people all the time that can't really play. That doesn't necessarily change my skill, but I can feel better about myself. But the implicit part, Ron, is that I don't know that I'm consciously doing this. So in this way, where you may want a certain type of woman, Ron, they keep rejecting you, so you implicitly lower your standards so that you can feel good about yourself. People be doing that type of stuff a lot. Self-serving beliefs. This again, where we want to look at ourselves. All of this again is about maintaining our ego and maintaining our self-esteem. So we overstress information and kind of like, enhances that and limits information from our psyche that may, hurt our self-esteem. The self-handicapping, where again, one of the disappointments is that, instead of, if people don't actually try to do something, then they can say that, well, hey, like, look, I could have won, Mike's like, look, I could have won this race, but I ain't even tried because I'm asthmatic. I couldn't run. I'm up as lucky. And we've all seen that, right? Basking and reflecting glory. Again, you associate yourself with certain groups to feel good about yourself. We see a lot of this, quite frankly, with racism and prejudice. They're like, you could be, hypothetically speaking, like, a poor underclass white person, but you associate yourself with like, George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, those cats. And it's like, look, those were very prestigious men. That ain't got nothing to do with you. And then one of the more common ones, downward social comparisons. where this would be like, okay, well, like, that again, in making my social comparisons, I should probably be like looking at people that are my age and that are in my station in life. This would be like, say like, hey, well, look, yeah, I live with my mama, but actually she still live with her mama too. So, it ain't so bad. It's not quite the same thing. And again, right, positive illusions, again, that we trick ourselves and fool ourselves often to maintain our self-esteem. I'll keep this up for a moment. Again, don't only take notes on what's written here, but I'll let y'all catch up and we'll open up the discussion tomorrow. Are there any questions about anything so far that we've discussed today or anything in this chapter? Any comments you want to share? And again, we're almost at the conclusion of this chapter, so please make sure that you get caught up to speed with the reading. I'm pretty sure I'm behind where you should be at in the syllabus. Again, we have to be mindful of the limits and challenges to this, saying that even though we want to have self-enhancement and we do want to have, some introspection and really take an honest look at ourselves, the danger in that is that you can overdo this, Shakira, and lead yourself into depression. So there are, so these positive illusions where we may lie to ourselves about things that, and I think you don't want to overdo this, but everybody does this to a certain degree. Otherwise, you might just walk around depressed and mad all the time. So to just even be productive, I was going to give another example. That's a bad one. That most of the time, for example, in breakups or something like that, Ron, it was really your fault this relationship came to an end, but you create this illusion for yourself because otherwise it will make you feel even worse about the situation and your role in it. Couple more things before we leave for the day. We talked again about the role of culture and their individualistic and collectivist cultures. Most European cultures historically have been more individualistic. Most Asian and African cultures are more collective, that group identity is really important. And there's been a lot of research on, the ways that individuals within these various cultural paradigms, how they respond to threats to their self-esteem. In individualist cultures like our own, we'll use some of the self-enhancement tactics that we just described. Basking and reflecting glory, downward social comparisons, social handicapping, and the like. In collectivist cultures, there might be things to try and maintain your public face. Maisha Hainsworth.
I just had a quick question. Are you able to upload these slides to My Island? I'm
Do.
like, okay.
But if you all do need more time, lectures are recorded and are available for your review. And keep in mind, like, look, even though I do want y'all to take notes, where's all of this information coming from, young people?
The book.
Your textbook. So like, if you're reading in advance and taking your own notes, like you don't have to rely on mine. And even if you do utilize these, I hope that you're not only utilizing this as a tool to navigate through the class, but now I would not be able to upload the lectures themselves. I want to close very briefly on self-presentation. Keep in mind that the next chapter is going to be on public perception. I'm sorry, on person perception. And this speaks to how we perceive other people. We talked about before how like that how the police oftentimes before they may even encounter you, white officer, black officer, green officers, that they may have a certain perception about who you are. We do this all the time with each other. We shouldn't. I wish we would do it less, but yes, we will have perceptions about each other before even communicating. But this unfortunate social reality makes it where, you know, this is a culture society where you at least want to be conscious of your self-presentation. Again, I don't mean that you got to be totally hung up on it. But again, like, you know, when we be having cars sometimes, you know, God bless, you know, the attendees, but there would be many people coming in routinely, Ron, that did not seem to be very conscious of their self-presentation. Again, and go into the, like, you know, if you go into church this Sunday, wear your mask. But people are going to be conscious, even though some may say, hey, come as you are. Jesus makes no judgments. That sounds great. Sometimes, just sometimes now, the people in there will judge you. Going into the mosque, women not having her hair covered. I personally don't think that has, you know, a strong connotation with their relationship to God, but other people may think so. So you got to be aware of how tattoos, piercings, cosmetic surgeries, what these communicate to the rest of the world. And it is totally okay if you want to do any of these things. But like I said, hopefully it's directed from your private self-conscious. So if you want to get, you know, a Chinese tattoo, written in Chinese characters, that's cool. You should maybe make sure that it's actually translating into what you want it to. But again, in our country, we see this all the time, and more than anywhere else, where we get surgeries to tighten up our eyelids. We do Botox and stuff to make ourselves look younger and tighten up that bone structure. Start to look a little bit more gout and stuff as we age. Butts and breasts start to sag a little bit. We got to tighten that up. Get a little bit gray, got to dye that hair. Smooth out these wrinkles. Again, not all this like, yeah, fresh and breath, like, you know, don't be having me up in the club, you know, talking to folks and everything, and my breath is up here fine and stuff, Ron, and you ain't letting me know, dog. I need to know what my self-presentation is like. Kid's like, oh, he was cute, girl, but his breath was so flame. It's like, man, why? You know, and you know, usually again, people will let us know about our self-presentation. If I see Jakira backing up a little bit, she's communicating something to me. I'm like, oh shit. Hey, okay. So please be mindful of this. Does not mean that you're caught up on everybody's looking at you, because again, most people, well, many people my age, go the opposite direction, and they think that people is looking and staring at them all the time and just totally hung up on them. So we have to be mindful of that as well. I will close on this brief note because, again, right, you have probably asked your parents for something before, right? That you were not sure before you asked Maisha if you were going to get it. Young Rafi here had a similar situation. Let's look at it briefly before we come to class. Anybody ever seen the film? I'm probably dating myself here, but this is a classic. Anybody ever seen the film A Christmas Story? You've definitely seen the preview because they show it like pretty much on constant loop every Christmas. Just check it out, it's pretty funny. But again, like how you present yourself. So what this speaks to is that either if you have done something wrong or you wanted to ask for something that you probably have practiced, Jakira, your presentation before you go and ask your parents for this. Hey, I've seen it with I don't think any of y'all, but students and stuff where, okay, I'm gonna ask Dr. Muhammad, can I, redo this paper? So let me get my presentation right. I gotta be outside. Let me get my tears ready. Let's look at an example here of how this works, and then we'll leave for today. Ryan, once we close out, stay on this link for a couple of minutes, and we'll have our meeting on here.
I don't think we can't see it. It's a gray square for us.
Oh, there. You can't see it?
Nah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me try. Thank you, Ron.
Gotcha.
Could you hear it?
No.
Can you see it now?
Now we can see it, yeah.
And just to give you some brief background for the you hip millennials that have not seen this, he wanted this toy gun for Christmas. It was like, no, you can't get no toy gun. You're gonna shoot your eye out. So he finally got the gun for Christmas, and let's see what happens.
Okay, Black Bart, now you get yours.
Oh my God, I shot my eye out.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
You'll shoot your eye.
Ralphie, you be careful out there. Don't shoot your eye out.
She hadn't seen. She didn't know. My eye's all right. The BB must have hit my glasses. My glasses. Oh no, where are my glasses? Few things brought such swift and terrible retribution on a kid as a pair of busted glasses.
Stop!
Oh no, pulverized.
Oh, no.
For a moment I thought, I'll fake it. They'll never know the lens is gone.
Oh, no.
Rapidly, my mind evolved a spectacular plot. Let's see, an icicle, yeah, falls off the garage and hits me in the eye. It would work. It had to work. Quickly, I whipped up some tears.
Ralphie? What's the matter, honey? Oh, what happened? What is it? Let me see that. What is
There's
it?
this icicle, and it fell off
What is
the
it? Come on inside,
garage
out
and
of the car.
hit me.
So yeah, hopefully you all have not been as mischievous and deceitful as Ralphie was here. But I'm sure you all have had situations where you have had to get your presentation in order before you went and made your case. whether it be
Yeah.
to your parent, significant other, teacher, what have you. We'll leave it there for now. Please continue reading the chapter. Ron, as I said, stay behind for a minute, and we'll pick up next time. I hope to see some paper draft soon. That due date's coming pretty quickly. Otherwise, have a wonderful weekend. All right, so what's on your mind, Mr. Anderson?
Okay, so my main thing right now, I just want to confirm if, as far as me having ideas, what research, let me specifically see if it asks for research methods or types. No fewer than 5 research methods. So far, what I've seen, because I was where I was getting confused is like, there's different types of research. There's survey research, there's observational research, but then I was kind of like, is that really a method? I was kind of second guessing myself. Okay.
Absolutely.
But so far, the five things that I've written down just to see if I'm heading in the right direction. I got descriptive research. I have correlation research, then experimental research, cultural investigation. And then for the 4th thing that I seen meta-analysis, but I wanted to dig deeper into that to make sure I was like, is that research? Like, I know it is, or it deals with it. I was just trying to make sure.
Research method.
But
method.
Research method. Yeah, method.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically the four except meta-analysis, I'm kind of solid on. Like, I know that's a type of research, but again, methods are like more specifically, like you said, surveys, right? Would that be the method?
Yes.
Okay, so
as would meta-analysis.
Okay. So, for example, descriptive research is the type of research, but the method that I can use for that is a survey.
Absolutely. Yes.
Got you.
And even within that, there are many different types of surveys as well.
Okay. So can I break it down like that?
Absolutely, you can. Yes.
Okay. So just to think, my 5 different research methods could be 5 different types of surveys.
Yep.
In a sense.
Yep.
Got you. All right. Just making sure.
Absolutely.
Now,
I would challenge yourself to broaden it out a bit, but
yeah, definitely.
But there may be, depending upon the question you choose, some methods are probably not going to be as suitable.
Yeah, that's what brings me into my second point. So, as far as like, my understanding is that, after we identify these research methods, we're gonna talk about how we would use each method to answer a pre-approved question or topic, let's say. Now, I was thinking about trying to use my topic for social statistics, right? My research topic but that's the problem though. Like, my topic specifically is looking at the correlation between personal wellness and graduation perspective of Allen University students.
Interesting.
And I know, right? And I know we're doing a survey. So I know survey, I could check that off the list, but it's kind of like, damn, what else would I do? Like, yeah, I'm just trying to.
I think there's a lot that you could do with that, quite frankly.
Okay. I just want to make sure, like, I'm not limiting myself.
Do you think that you can only get wellness, and we probably gonna get bumped out again in a second? We'll log back in.
Okay.
Do you think you can only get somebody's wellness, or do you think that wellness is best measured by giving somebody a survey?
No, not even. You could observe that. You can see with your own eyes, honestly.
Exactly.
So I'm just saying, but yeah, that's my I'm really trying to take that topic with me through everything. I keep you updated on that too, because that's I don't know. It's that also, and prison industrial complex. But I'm gonna save that for social research. I'm gonna try.
For sure. Absolutely.
But yeah, that's it. I was just trying to make sure that I had the right understanding, because I know different types of research, but then different methods. I was trying to differentiate types from methods.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
now,
descriptive and exploratory are types of research, and then the methods go about how do you go about collecting the data to answer the question under those models.
Now, okay. So what about, for example, primary data analysis?